Alright, so I needed a workbench that was about 66 inches long so that it would fit in that space we got available. And then the shelf is about 2 feet deep, but I wanted this to be a little more. So here's the thing. Typical lumber, affordable, kind of a common size is an 8-foot length, which is 96 inches. And we needed a length of 66 inches. So if you take 96 and cut 66 off of it, that leaves you 30 inches. Well, that's a pretty good number for the depth, because our shelves over there are 24 inches. All the workbenches we built on the back, those are 24 inches. But I did want this one a little bigger, so that works out perfect. This allows us to cut one of these sections and then have a 30-inch piece left over that we can use for this and have no waste. So that's kind of cool. So that gave us 5 of these boards on the top and 5 of these with essentially just the sawdust from the saw blade as the only waste. Then we cut 3 more out of a board. So that's 30, 60, 90. That leaves 6 inches of waste. 30, 60, 90, another 6 inches of waste, and then 30 off of this, which left us some more, like a 66-inch long piece left. And then I needed these triangles to brace it. And I didn't really do the math on that here. But let me just show you. So I've already cut a lot of this and built it. So you can see there's a 6-inch scrap. There's the other 6-inch scrap, and that's the 66-inch long piece. And you can see we've got our triangles laid out. We need 8 of these, so that one doesn't count, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you can see we've got, you know, a foot of scrap left. So essentially, on our 2x6s, we're going to end up with basically a 1-foot section and a pair of 6-inch sections for waste. And that's it. So it's an extremely efficient from that standpoint. Alright, so let's get to the opposite of efficient. This is the actual piece we built. Now, yeah, it's sitting on another table. This thing is ridiculous. Now, this is intentional. I've always wanted to build a workbench like this. So this is just completely solid wood and everything is glued together. This is pretty hard to build. So what we did, this is actually the bottom of the workbench that you're looking at. I got it flipped upside down because I got to put the legs on next. So what we did was we took all our pieces, stuck them together, and we glued these together. Like on the edges here, these are all glued pretty good. And then I ended up having to put some screws in it to hold it together some, and I also had to go buy some clamps. The clamps I was using, I actually had some clamps, but almost all my clamps are like this, where they're, you know, you get like a foot or so of clamping, but not a lot, so I had to buy these big giant ones, and that ran the bill up. Those actually cost almost as much as the lumber. But funny enough, all the lumber only cost like $80-something for all of this. Basically, the materials to build this bench were like $88. Now, granted, I had the 4x4s. Maybe I had another 25 for that, or 20, but anyway, this is literally 3-inch thick solid wood. This is going to be a beast of a workbench. I've always wanted to, and it's all glued together. So it's got screws holding it together. Like this bottom layer, these are all screwed together. But then these are also screwed to this. I'll show you that when I flip it over. But the whole assembly, everything is glued together. So like on these edges are glued together, and then this board is totally glued to this. And then like between the seams, these are glued together, these are glued. I mean, just everything. This is essentially one giant solid piece of wood, 3 inches thick, 30 inches deep, 66 inches long. So it's super heavy, and I expect once the glue dries, this is going to be an extremely rigid work surface, which is what we're going for. I wanted to build this is for fabrication. I want to be able to hammer on it and, you know, put heavy stuff up here and work on it and maybe throw an engine block on it or something and not have to worry about it. And I've just always wanted to build a bench like this, so we did it. And I have to tell you, this was way more of a pain to assemble than I thought it would be. I didn't have the right stuff to clamp this together, and that really slowed things down, but we'll see. I don't know if it's going to be worth it yet. This did take, I've been working on it all day. I probably got 8, no, I got more than that. Buying the lumber and cutting it was quick, but I probably spent 6 or 8 hours putting all this together to see what you see now. So it did go slow, but we'll see when it's done if it was worth it. But I bet you it'll be solid if nothing else. Well, good news. It's about all I could muster, but I managed to flip this thing over and move this into position. So it is a little tight. You can see it's straight up running into this, which I intended for this. I was trying to get this size, which I knew this insulation would have to get pushed a little, but it's tighter than I thought it would be. But we did get it in there, and we'll let the glue dry, but it seems pretty solid. I mean, you can't really tell from a video, but it's it's pretty sturdy. But I think once the glue all dries up, it'll be even better. So it's a little high. It's actually the same as our workbenches over there, which from this distance they look normal, but these are more like when you're standing. So like when I walk up to this, you know, I don't know if this is hard to, yeah, it's hard to tell. Anyway, let's see, this is like 6 foot right here. So these benches are 40 inches high. So what, 3.5 feet basically? It's a good height. It's good for working on stuff. So we're gonna move some of our fabrication equipment over here, but overall I like how this turned out. We had thought about doing an L piece, making a side one there. We decided not to because the chain to open the doors right there, and honestly, had we put, you know, say an extension that covered this area right here, it would come out this way, which restrains your use of this. So by doing it this way, you can, you know, fully access this side over here. So it's a nice 66 inches across, 30 inches deep, very rigid. This thing is, I mean, honestly, you could have 3 engines if they would physically fit. You know, you could easily throw a couple of blocks up here. No problems. This thing's super sturdy. So I like how it turned out. We'll probably check it out tomorrow after the glue dries just to see how it really feels. But I'm liking this. We spent, let's see, it's 11 o'clock. We probably put an hour cutting some wood yesterday and about 10 hours putting it together today. So pretty inefficient, mainly because we decided to glue all this stuff together and we didn't really know how that was going to go at first. So kind of slow to build it, but I tell you what, I like how it turned out. And the cost wasn't so bad. I think we ended up spending about as much on tools as we did on wood. We had the 4x4s. That would have cost us like 30 bucks if we had to buy them. The rest of the lumber was like 88. So, you know, maybe 120 bucks in materials. Well, plus glue, but we had that too. I don't know, say 150. You could build this for 150 bucks. So not too bad and super sturdy. Anyway, we'll paint it eventually, but for now we're letting the glue dry and probably start using it, but yeah, we'll paint it one day. Alright guys, we're gonna knock off for the night. We got this workbench built, which is all blocked with fans right now, but hey, one day we're gonna put AC in this place, but for now we got fans. But anyway, our benches back here, we built these about a year ago, and you can see we painted them white. So they all got a coat of primer, but the ones on the left are just primer only, whereas the ones on the right, we actually put a finish paint on them that's a lot more durable, so they've stayed a lot nicer looking than the ones on the left. But what you'll notice, they're still kind of scuffed up when you get up close. So it's not super durable, but it's okay. But we decided we're going to make an improvement, which admittedly is probably what we should have done from the beginning. We're going to put Formica on these. So a while back I bought these workbenches, which I got a great deal on these, but I only got 3 of them. So we got that one over there full of junk, and then we got these 2 in the middle. These have Formica. It's like this, I really don't know, but this stuff's awesome. It's super tough. It's not indestructible. It's not like a piece of steel, but for what it is, it's very, very durable. So we ordered some. We ordered enough to put a top on this one, this one, this one, and that one. Not the bottoms, but the tops. And so the plan is, the ones that have the finish paint, we're going to do them first. And see how those turn out. And if it looks good, then we'll probably do finish paint on these, except for the top, and we'll just put the Formica on the top. And then that way we'll have, they'll all be white, they'll all be, you know, painted to look good, but the top will have Formica, which should be a lot more durable than paint alone. So that'll be a nice addition. The Formica was like 150 bucks, I think, to get enough to do the top of these benches back here. Probably not going to do the bottom shelf because we don't really use the bottoms that much. If you look over here at the finished paint ones, I mean, look at these after a year of use. These look basically new because we hardly use the bottom shelves. So there's not a... One thing my boss at work has taught me is about, you know, only solving the problems you need to solve. So old Pat would have absolutely put Formica on the bottoms, but, you know, our use case is that, well, we use the tops, we don't really use the bottoms much. So we're going to do Formica on the top only. Roll with that for a while. Save us 150 bucks. And go from there. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up. Don't know what the next project's going to be. We're taking tomorrow off, going to a barbecue. Anyway, y'all take it easy.